Velina Miki Aloha. I am Kumu Kawika Foster, and this is Ho'oponopono Deep Dive with a Twist. Part 1, we're taking you all the way into the foundation, the principles of understanding and knowledge and wisdom of our ancestry that are the bedrock of knowledge and wisdom in the practice of Ho'oponopono. We're exploring if you're connected or not, and the significance of your connection within the process of Ho'oponopono. So come along, I'm glad you're here, and let's get into it. Mahalo everyone for being here. It's deeply appreciated, and we're very excited to be kicking off this Ho'oponopono Deep Dive series with a twist, part 1. And we want to begin with the sharing of the pillars of the foundation of spiritual knowledge and wisdom of our ancestry. And the reason that we do so is to establish the platform and the background and the backbone of the way of life and the way of thinking of our ancestors. In order to demonstrate this path and this way that they developed, we have to begin at its source. And for that reason, the very first pillar that we speak of and that we're going to share with you now is that of Akua. Akua is the higher being or beings. It's that source of energy that we are connected to. It is a source of energy that we are connected to, but it is not us. And yet if we ask to be granted energy and support and guidance and understanding from this source, we will receive it in our abilities to know and understand ourselves, and also in our abilities to assist others in the healing work and practice of Ho'oponopono. Akua is the method and means in which our ancestors acknowledged all of the gods and goddesses that they worshipped. In our direct culture and lineage of ancestry, our ancestors worshipped 400,000 gods and goddesses. So for this reason, we address all of them through speaking the words or chanting the words Na Akua. Akua is the first pillar that we come to in sharing the foundation of knowledge and wisdom of our ancestry, because it is from this source that we receive the healing power and the healing energy that we require in our lives, and particularly in the work that we do, and also particularly the process of Ho'oponopono. If we do not have at least a belief, then the practice of Ho'oponopono cannot work. Right? And so we take it immediately and directly to that level and to that space, knowing and understanding that it's from that source that we will receive the energy power that we require to do Ho'oponopono. And we're also taking every single individual person that comes to us to engage in Ho'oponopono directly to that source as well, through asking directly whether or not an individual believes in a higher power or in a higher being. And it's very simple in this teaching and in this method of doing Ho'oponopono, and that is that if the answer is no, then the answer is no. and it means that we cannot do ho'oponopono with that individual. It's important that we establish at least a belief and an understanding in a source that is greater than us, that grants to us that healing power, because if we cannot meet there, then the practice and the process of ho'oponopono does not work, because we are not the source of the healing energy or the healing power. The source of the healing energy and the healing power is that of Akua. So if there is no belief, then there is no means, there is no opportunity or an opening to even begin to do ho'oponopono. The next pillar that we want to bring to light here is that of Pule, is that of the prayer. Right? Prayer is the vehicle, is the means, it's the method in which we are able to travel from the physical, literal world into that of the spiritual world and the multitude of spiritual levels within the spiritual realm. Prayer is that opportunity for us to open the way, and it serves as a MAKAHA, as a gateway into ho'oponopono, the sacred confines of ho'oponopono, as well as a gateway out of ho'oponopono once we've completed the work. Right? So this is just to begin to share the importance of prayer, of Pule, in the process of ho'oponopono, but also to establish the significance of prayer throughout the healing practices of our ancestry. Right? Pule, prayer, was our ancestors' direct method of communicating with the realm of the ancestors themselves, with the level of that spiritual realm which we address as AUMAKUA. These are our guardians, and it was also the direct means and method in which we communicated to Akua, right, to our gods, to our goddesses. In doing so, what we establish is a clear and direct connection to them, and through our Pule, through our prayer within ho'oponopono, what they open to us is the sacred confines of ho'oponopono. What the other thing that they're doing through prayer, what we're able to do through prayer with them and their assistance, is to create those sacred confines that we speak of within the context of ho'oponopono as a process, right? So that they stand guard for us, in front of us, behind us, above us, below us, and they guide us in ho'oponopono to the source of the pilikia, right? To the source of the trouble, to the source of the POHAKU, the stone that we are removing and lifting out of our beings on a spiritual, mental, and physical basis. So it's through this it's through this pillar of Pule, of prayer, and its significance, that it really becomes the second most important pillar of the entire foundation. So once we've established the belief and the knowing of the source of Akua, now we have to demonstrate that relationship and that connection to them. And the way that we do that is through Pule, is through prayer. Right. The other thing that I would just like to highlight while we're on this pillar is that Pule takes many different forms. Right. Pule is in the spoken word. Pule is also in in its chanted form, right? Both incantated chants and inspired or intuited chants. And Pule is also found in movement, right? So the dance, for example, hula, was another means, another form of Pule, of prayer, of communicating and demonstrating those prayers through dance. So that's Pule. That's the second most important pillar in the foundation of understanding. And from Pule, we can move directly into Aloha. Now, Aloha is all encompassing, right? Aloha is unconditional love. Yeah. And it's important that we establish this pillar here and now in the process of Ho'oponopono, because that is in its essence what we're getting back to when we move into such processes as Ho'oponopono. Right? Our ability to love ourselves unconditionally and our ability to love unconditionally everyone and everything in this universe. Turning it around, once we have come to know everything about ourselves, and then we can love everything that we know, that's the moment in time our ancestors require of us to be able to turn around and to share it with everyone and everything in this universe, because that is indeed what makes it unconditional. Right? And many a times, what happens in our life experience is how we grew up, the dynamic of our family, the relationship that we have to our family members, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our grandparents, all of these dynamics coupled with the societal structures that we grow up with and in, the political views, the religious perspectives, the engagement and interactions of sex and gender, and all of these contributing factors that we pick up throughout our lifetime have the potential and the ability of preventing us from knowing this unconditional love that we carry and that we have for ourselves, but also it has the ability to completely set the boundaries of who and how we demonstrate this unconditional love towards. And speaking directly about it, right, just getting straight into some of the twists here as we're moving along. And that is that Aloha, unconditional love, is no longer unconditional love if there's any kind of condition applied to it. So this again brings back, and it allows us to begin to step into answering the question that's nearing at the end of this share and this discussion, which is, are you connected? And where are you on a personal level, spiritually, mentally, and physically, in your connection? So any kind of and the direct understanding of this pillar of Aloha, unconditional love, is if there's anything blocking it, if there's any kind of condition to it, then it is no longer Aloha. So moving through the process of Ho'oponopono and releasing, letting go of, forgiving anything that's blocking us from attaining that unconditional love, which is, of course, one of the great pillars of the spiritual knowledge and wisdom of our ancestry. So, as we move on from Aloha, then we're going to start talking about Pono. Now, Pono is another one of these massive foundational pillars. Right? Pono is a way of life. It is a way of thinking. Pono is about righteousness, and everything about you being where it rightfully belongs. Every facet of your being, spiritually, mentally, and physically, knowing it, understanding it, and it residing where it rightfully belongs within your being. And when this happens, there's an alignment that occurs. Right? And this alignment is our pathway, it's our lifeline, it's our direct connection to our ancestors, our guardians, and that of the higher powers. If this pillar of Pono is not in alignment, if we are not in alignment with this pillar of Pono, then we cannot do Ho'oponopono. And that share is really dealing with the individual that conducts Ho'oponopono. So this really has to do with you and where your Pono is and your alignment on a spiritual, mental, and physical basis. And it needs to be perfectly in alignment in order to be able to do Ho'oponopono. The pathway that we access through Pono comes to us in the sharing of this next pillar, which is OIAIO. And OIAIO is the spirit, the essence, the meat, the bone of truth. OIAIO has nothing to do with your truth or my truth. And directly speaking, the moment it becomes your truth or my truth, it's no longer OIAIO. So, OIAIO, once again, it's the universal truth, and it is a pathway. And it speaks to us of the meat and the essence of OIAIO, the truth. There's also much to be shared about how one demonstrates their understanding of the truth. And what I mean by that, and what I'm bringing forward in the pillar of OIAIO, is that if we are sharing OIAIO, the truth, but we are brutal with it, then this is not in alignment with the essence of OIAIO. So anytime we're faced with an opportunity or an exchange to demonstrate and speak the truth of our ancestors, we must do it in alignment with the preceding two principles that I just shared with you. As cultural practitioners and healers, it's important for us to demonstrate and to speak OIAIO with Pono, with Aloha. And sometimes it can be really difficult in the process of Ho'oponopono to arrive at OIAIO, the essence of truth. And for a multiple of reasons. It's been covered up for many years. The POHAKUs that we carry have prevented us from speaking it, from accessing it, and therefore knowing it. So in the process of Ho'oponopono, OIAIO is an incredibly important pillar of the foundation that we speak of, because of all of the intricacy and the care that it takes to arrive at it once again. So that is OIAIO. Now, from OIAIO, we can move to the pillar of Ohana, right? And the pillar of Ohana is that of family, right? And the understanding that everyone and everything in this universe is Ohana, is kin to us, is family to us. The wind, the trees, the stars, the sun, the moon, all of it interwoven, interconnected, and we have a direct connection to it through our birth and the understanding of how we are related. And this again is on a human level, right? So all human beings, our immediate family on a human level, but it is also inclusive of the family that we have in everything that's present in this universe, right? So understanding that pillar and that way of connection, and the depth and the essence of that connection. So that's Ohana, and there's multitude of layers that we must be able to know, understand, and access. And all of these pillars begin to interconnect with one another and create a fabric, right? Create this interconnected, this woven knowing of how things operate in our universe. So that's Ohana. And there are two more pillars that I would like to bring forward at this time, and that is moving on from Ohana, we then must also talk about Mana. And Mana is our spirit power. This is the spirit power that we were born with. It is pure energy that grants to us specific spiritual qualities and abilities. We achieve it, and we care for it, we nurture it, we grow mana by doing good things, by being aloha in unconditional love, by being pono in right alignment, and very simply put, by doing good things. And it's a very specific quality of spirit that we're talking about in mana, and its importance and significance as a pillar of understanding of our ancestors. As we move on from mana, we can step into the hana, and the hana is the work. Hana is the work on a spiritual, mental, and physical basis, and it is literally it's the things that need to be done. And when we are in the process of Ho'oponopono, it is the work of uncovering, removing, getting rid of, forgiving, letting go of those pohakus which block our connection and our light. And that's the hana. That's the work. And hana also speaks to us on the work of our lives and the discipline that we need in continuing to communicate to our ancestors, to demonstrate for them where we are and where we're going at all times. And moving on from that, and speaking of all times, now the last and final pillar that I have to share with all of you at this moment, and that is Makaukau. Makaukau is to be ready all the time. It is to be ready once again on a spiritual level, on a mental level, and on a physical level. Makaukau speaks to us of becoming firm and unshakable, of demonstrating at any moment in time the truth in Aloha, the place at which we are orienting ourselves in this universe, which is Pono. That in its essence of Makaukau and being ready all the time is that there are no surprises, and we expect the unexpected. So these pillars, right, and the depth and the breadth of what they have to share with us builds the foundation that we set into our lives and into our being